So what do you make of the president's virtual speech today before the United Nations? Do you think he hit the mark with it?
He did. It was a nice short speech, 10 minutes long, said everything he needed to say right there, and he stood up for American interests. He poked the establishment in the eye where it really needed to, and really laid it into China for being responsible for this pandemic.
And when it comes to China, we see them taking, I believe, heading 4 of the 15 specialized agencies at the UN. You see them with the World Health Organization. They, in a way, kind of de facto run that because they have Tedros under their thumb. Do you think that China's influence is starting to, maybe not perhaps corrupt, but it's starting to grow too much in the United Nations? And do you think they're going to continue to consolidate that power?
Well, Communist China has always had infiltration into these international institutions since we first allowed them in. So they've had a good 40 years to penetrate these institutions and even take them over at our expense. So what President Trump is finally doing, like no leader has ever done, is to push back, to call them out for infiltrating and subverting and disrupting these international institutions that were built for the benefit of everybody, not just the Chinese Communist Party. In fact, not at all the Chinese Communist Party, because it's the government that's in Taiwan that was one of the founders of the United Nations. So the president got back and he put the UN and really other countries on alert in a way where he's attacking globalism. He's also defending the right of every nation to act in its own sovereign interests. So in putting America first, he's also helping other countries to put themselves first and to put the Chinese back in the box.
And really quickly, an interesting story I was seeing coming out of New York City is an NYPD cop has been arrested and charged for allegedly spying on behalf of China. And this reminds me of a much greater trend we've seen. Usually it involves scientists, it involves professors at universities passing along information to the CCP. Do you think China has a greater influence globally than most Americans would give them credit for?
Yes, the Chinese Communist Party itself and its intelligence services separately operate colossal global networks for political influence operations and for spying. Unlike anything we've ever seen, unlike even the Soviets, on a massive scale. So they're infiltrating universities and research programs and news organizations and political organizations and even politicians' own staffs. So I think you're going to see a lot more arrests because in the past 2 years or so, the Trump administration has had an interagency crackdown on all of this, led by Attorney General Barr and Secretary of State Pompeo.